Hey there, and welcome to making marketplace stalls. And this is for those of you who want something a bit more complicated than a box, but not so complicated as kind of the full-on huge building-y things that I've been building. So on the left here we've got two CDs. This is the base, this is the roof. On the roof I've already fitted an additional piece. I can't remember what this is an offcut from, but it is an offcut. And then I've etched it and made it look sort of like vaguely like a ventilation system of some nature, slash solar panel slash something technological. And these are the backs with the door, and then these will make up the front and the stall. Now each of these two pieces on either side here are 2¼ inches wide. This, which is the actual back of the building, is 3 inches wide, and that's so that we can put a doorway which will slide from one side across to the other. And then these will make up the counter at the front of the store. So I'm just going to assemble this for this one and show you the basic construction method. And these will form the classic infinity hexagon, albeit a slightly lopsided one because it will be unequal sides. So first up, just joining these bits together. I'll just get that done and I'll show you how it works. First step of assembly then, I take the back wall, I attach one of the side walls, and if necessary, use a CD that you're going to be using for the base as the rough guide for that angle. I'm only doing this roughly, and literally it's just a corner edge, so if I just come up over the top, you can, well, almost, you can see how literally, it's just that corner to corner, so it's a very weak bond and it will get stronger as you assemble it. So partway through you'll probably find yourself at this point where you've got your final section, and by the way I've gone back, side, side, front bit, always gluing to the structure. So this bit got glued to this bit, this bit got glued to this bit, this bit got glued to this bit. So everything starts from the back, working to the front. And then you've got your final piece, and it's like, oh no, the gap, it's too big. It's like, don't worry about it. The glue's not particularly strong. There's still flex to this. So when you're doing it, you just squidge it together and you just hold it. The other thing you can do at this point, or before the glue's completely set, is chuck it on your CD and squidge it around a bit and make sure it fits in. But as you can see, I've actually let this dry, by the way, and it's still got a bit of flex in the joints on that because the glue is not particularly strong at this point. It's once you attach the roof and the base that the structure actually becomes strong. So I'm just going to get this last bit attached, and then I'll show you what the structure looks like with everything combined. Here we have the basic structure then. All I've done is I've glued the corners together, roughly forming a hexagon. Now the key thing about this hexagon is that when you get your base, I'll just grab now, you want this to sit inside the boundary of your disc so that everything's contained, and hence the dimensions. I haven't made a perfectly even hex because I wanted that 3-inch back wall so that we can do the sliding door. And then you also have the store at the front, so you have the store. Also, these walls 3.5 inches high. The reason for this is I am going to want to put a signboard on so that I can have whatever the shop title is and what have you, because I like to do my postery details, and especially with something like market stalls and shops and what have you, it's nice just to have the detail of what the shop is, just so that there's something more than just an arbitrary building, because this is infinity and the city's in infinity, or to me should feel like, you know, something straight out of Hong Kong or Japan, or especially considering my main force is the JSA as well. I really want these to have that kind of neon city of the future kind of feel, something like Blade Runner if you like, or Akira, or Ghost in the Shell even, just these kind of sci-fi advanced places, but maybe a bit dingy around the edges, but nonetheless covered in neon and posters, and just something which has a bit of I suppose realism. This is the cinematic side of all of this, is to create scenery which gives you a feel of a city. I don't really want to play on a stack of boxes. I'd like to play in a cityscape, ideally. So onwards. Next up, I stick this to the base and I stick the roof on top as well. And this will give you all of the basic structure. Here's the basic building then, with the roof attached and the floor attached. So if you're looking in, you can see there's quite a big reach in space here. It's only a small building, so you don't really need gigantic amounts of reach in space. Also, you might find it's the kind of building you never actually go inside. Let's give it a quick draw. However, what it does do is it creates a piece of line of sight blocking terrain, which doesn't take up very much space, is reasonably tall, so it will block most views from tall buildings across streets or into areas. Also, it doesn't take very much space, it's got quite a small profile. And from here, this is sort of the basic structure, and I think I'm making 3 of these at the same time, as ever, making stuff all at the same time. And I'm going to start detailing them, or build all the stuff the same, and then I'll do the details on each building separately. So I'm just going to show you the final stages of this part of the build then, which is just putting in the signboard and putting in the counter. And this will be something that's consistent across all 3. So I will get them put in, and you can see the finished basic product as such, before moving on to details, which I'll do as a separate video. So I'll catch you in a moment. So 2 of them have got these just flat sided poke boards. The only detail of any note is that I've beveled this corner here. Just beveled it back so that where it overlaps. It's just a simple way of making it blend into the building without faffing on too much with making corners match up and getting angles that match up. And on the other building, I have built this. So I've put in the bevel, and I'll have this so it runs out at an angle towards the front of the building, like so. So it'll end up being like a 2-faced signpost. I'm just doing this on one of them though. So I'll get that fixed on the other one, and then I'll get the counters fixed, and then we'll be done for the basic structure. And it'll just be the difference in details, which will be the next bit, which will be sort of cladding and adding extras. So I'll catch you in a moment with that all done. Here we have them then with all the counters assembled, and I've just used a counter off of just one of them. Made that by measuring along the line, just holding a block in place, and taking 15mm off of each edge. Cutting it and just going a little bit, adding a mil on this way, away, sort of, so front and back have been taken into account off of the line that was taken off of this. And then I've just extended that and used that as a print and drawn around it and duplicated it. They're not perfect fits, but by flipping it around I managed to find a fit that worked for me. You can do this by measuring. Measuring is often a good idea, but today I haven't. I've just been doing this because it's kind of quick, and I think I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. So we've got our core buildings made as such, and at this point you could just spray them and leave them as done and not bother with doors and extra bits of roofing and details and stuff, but that will be in the next video. So I hope this has been some interest to you, and thank you for watching. Have a good one and take care, and bye bye.